What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Tank Rise post-game show. The Blazers today successfully tank this game against the Atlanta Hawks, giving up a whopping 129 points as they lose 129 to 111. This episode of the Blazers Tank Rise post-game show is presented by Bet Online. Use that promo code BELIEVE for a 50% reward bonus. 50% reward bonus. Baseball starts in less than a month. You got NASCAR right now. I'm a fan of that. And you got basketball playoffs coming up soon. Yes, playoffs. But thank you to BetOnline for sponsoring this post-game show once again. Use that promo code BELIEVE. Appreciate them. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so Eric, tank season is in full effect. The Blazers lose again. And it looks like they're going to be tied for 8th in the tank race. If Chicago can come back... Oh, and would you look at that? The bottom scoreboard is magically better today. I don't know why, but it's actually working. So what? Chicago... I don't know. I didn't do literally anything. So that's cool, I guess. Chicago's playing Phoenix right now. If Chicago could come back and win that game, then the Blazers would be tied for 7th in terms of the tank race. So... that's basically the main focus now, is how good can we get our odds for Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah, that is the question. And guess what? Remember how we talked about the Blazers being 3.5 games away from the 5th seed?
Mm-hmm.
The Magic win today, we lose. It's now 2.5. And who's our next opponent?
It's Orlando.
It's Orlando.
Oh,
we lose on
man.
Sunday. It's a game and a half. It's not 3.5. It's a game and a half out of 5th place. And what does 5th place get?
Like greater than... It's double-digit odds at Wemby.
Like, this has gone from no chance to, like, we actually have a legit chance at Wembanyama in just a matter of a few weeks.
Yeah,
5th place has a 10.5% chance at number 1 and 42% chance at top 4.
Yeah, and the number 1% chance, the top 3 teams all have equal odds, and that's a 14% chance. So if you're talking about being 9-10%, I mean, that's only a shade below the worst tanking teams of the season. So... At this point,
which is really sad that we're actually trying to win and we're down there with those teams. But
it is. I mean, we are only 5 games below 500. Normally, if you're this close, you're more games under 500. You're 10, 11, right? It's just, Orlando being the 5th worst team in the league. They're 27-37. That's a pretty dang good record for being the 5th worst team in the league. And Orlando's playing some solid basketball when they are healthy. So... Thunder taking care of business against the Jazz today is a positive for sure. The Tankathon race right now, Portland is tied with Chicago, and Chicago's pick goes to Orlando. And then OKC is a half game ahead of them in 7th. It's basically going to end up where Chicago and OKC probably flip there, where Chicago's 7th and OKC's tied with Portland for 8th because... OKC's about to win, and Chicago's down 107-97 at home against the Phoenix Suns, who, of course, have Devin Booker, 32 points, Kevin Durant, 20 points, 7 for 10 in 27 minutes. Josh Okogie has shot 4 more times from the field than Kevin Durant, Eric, but he's 5 for 10 from 3, so it's not really a problem for them so far. Chris Paul has 2 points in 24 minutes, though. He's looking a little old. I mean, it's going to be interesting to keep watching the Suns. Like, Ayton and Chris Paul did nothing in this game, but they're up 10. So we'll see if Chicago can make a late run here. They were up at halftime. They were up 4. So I was hopeful that we could have 7th place odds after today.
A great defensive player that the Suns picked up for the minimum and didn't have to get hard cap to get.
Yeah, imagine that.
That'd be nice to have a
The
GM
thing with Okogie is he's figured out how to shoot.
Yeah.
So, good for him. He's figured out how to shoot that 3 ball.
Yep.
So, an upcoming game that matters for this tank race, by the way, Eric, the Bulls and the Pacers, who are right on top of each other, basically, in this thing, play each other on Sunday. So, that'll be an interesting game that should benefit the Blazers in one way or another.
Yeah. Yep. We play the Magic, they play each other. This is it's crazy how we've gone to looking at that instead of, oh, the teams above us are playing, we have a chance to move into like seventh in this, like if we win the next two games or something, like we were a week ago.
Yep. We got a comment from Max Forset that says, as someone who only started following NBA and Blazers this season, I never understood why fans would want the team to tank. After the last month or so, I understand now. Yes, because this team is utterly hopeless. I guess we'll segue this into talking about this game, I guess. This team is utterly hopeless at this point. They can't defend anything, and it's not due to a small backcourt. They're starting Matisse Thybulle in the backcourt, right? We got length.
6'5",
doesn't make a difference.
Wingspan, yeah.
Yep, it's not due to the better defensive center in Drew Eubanks, who a lot of people said was a better defensive center than Yusuf Nurkic. That's not helping the team either. It's not due to the prized offseason acquisition this past offseason in Jeremy Grant, because, part of it's Chauncey's not using him defensively correctly, but his defense has also regressed as the season has gone along. I mean, you're basically starting Matisse Thybulle, Cam Reddish, Jeremy Grant, and Drew Eubanks. All four guys, at one point or another, have been hyped up to be good defensive players. By this fan base, and yet we're still giving up 129 points. We still can't defend literally anything. And honestly, it's not due to Dame. Dame was playing his ass off. Dame was out there flying around a couple of possessions defensively, and everybody else is just moving like they're in quicksand. So this season is lost at this point. From a winning perspective, they can't play any defense. And at this point, the only hope is that Victor Wembanyama can come save this franchise. As tough as that sounds.
Well, actually, credit to Chauncey, man. What did they do in the fourth quarter? They started trapping pick and roll, and they actually forced a few turnovers. We got out and ran. Cam Reddish just hitting threes on the fast break, and we put the starters back in and stuff. And yeah, so it was like we're giving up 30 every single quarter, basically. It was funny at halftime. Lamar Hurd's talking about how good the defense was in the second quarter, and then maybe they figured some things out. They still gave up 28 that quarter, and we're still down 10. And then they come out and give up 38 in the third after figuring that out. But yeah, it's like if you're gonna give up 30 points a quarter, you might as well like trap and force some turnovers. Like we're giving up. How many times did they like steal a rebound from someone, or Cam Reddish is like saving the ball from the sideline, throwing it back towards their hoop so they can have a wide open lay-in. It's like, might as well try to force the ball out of some of their playmakers' hands and get them to throw the ball away. And it worked a few times, so I don't understand why we don't try it more often. But hopefully they see that and invent some new schemes other than just their stupid basic coverage that they've done all season.
Yeah, hopefully they come up with some new stuff next season, Eric.
Right.
Because at this point, keep running this crappy defense. Keep giving up 120, 125, 129 points in games. I'm cool with that. Because, as Hyperprime says with his $2 dono, thank you, Hyperprime, he says, in all caps for all these, but I'm not going to shout it, he says, Wemby, 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 Wemby. Yes, I mean, that's the dream. That's the dream. It would be amazing for the channel, it'd be amazing for the team, it'd be amazing for the fan base, it'd be a ton of fun, and we need something fun. We need hope for the future, and that would be that. That would be the hope. So, having a chance at that guy is awesome, man. I mean, this is just, let me just say this. I can't believe we're here again.
I know.
I can't believe we're here again.
After 10-4 and yeah.
After last season, I don't remember the majority of the post-game shows when we tanked. It's just, I don't remember. I don't remember how it was. Like, I literally, if you asked me to name one off the top of my head, I couldn't name a moment on any of those post-game shows. Like, it is literally just this, like, black space in my memory. I don't know how we did it. I might have to go rewatch some of those streams so that I'm ready for this year's version of the tank race with these post-game shows.
It was just a lot of run a tankathon thing and then talk for an hour about different trades we could do if we got
in prospects. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be, and we'll talk prospects. And I know a lot of you don't really care about paying attention to this team on a game in, game out basis now if they're going to tank. I fully understand that, but we will try and make our post-game shows as entertaining and informative as possible, and we'll try and do the best job that we possibly can. That's all we can do with this team. I'd love to be talking about being the 3 seed and breaking down things game in, game out, but unfortunately that's not the reality, so we got to adjust and we got to figure out what to talk about, because talking about the way this team played today is kind of pointless. We'll talk about individual players a little bit, but I mean, it's going to be a lot of the same narratives and the same stuff and the same issues that certain players have, and that's what it became last year. Last year, obviously, it was a bunch of players that didn't really mean much, whereas we still got Grant playing, Dame playing, Cam Reddish playing. He had a good shooting game. 25 points in his return to Atlanta. Dame, 33 points in 37 minutes, 10 for 21, 8 assists. It's just, I don't want to sit here the final 19 games of the season and say, yeah, Watford can't defend anything, because that's simply the truth. He can't defend anything. And in this game, he couldn't defend anything. So if you have anything you want to consistently see on post-game shows as we head down this tanking trail, definitely let us know. They're not tanking, yeah. It's funny. It's funny how quickly people went, see, they're not tanking too. Oh, wait, they're still tanking despite Dame playing.
Dude, did I not call that before the Houston game?
You did call that before the Houston game.
That's the only game we've won since the All-Star break out of 5. We're 1-4, and Dame went crazy. He played after sitting out the game beforehand. Dude, I don't care who you are. You're not serious about winning if you sit out because you sat on an airplane in a snowstorm. Like, you're not serious about winning. I don't care what you say. Like, I know he was probably forced to sit out or whatever, but, like, this team was not serious. Right? Starting then and there. Like, if you truly want to will your team to a postseason or a post-All-Star break run, you don't sit out the first game no matter what the circumstances are, unless you're actually hurt. So, yeah, I mean, like, we should have known there. I mean, he tries to say after the game that it's not a tank job or whatever, but, like, and then we don't even start sharp and in that game and stuff. Like, it was just weird. But yeah, everyone came out of it at us because we beat Houston, like the worst freaking team in the league. Everyone's like, "You idiots! We're not tanking. Like, this team's going on a run. Dame's gonna will it to happen. Like, Dame's playing the best basketball he's ever played in his entire life, and he still can't will it to happen. That's how bad, like, everything else is around him."
Yeah, I mean, they just can't play defense. They're the worst defense in the league. And statistically, without Yusuf Nurkic this year, the Blazers have been the worst defense in NBA history by a decent margin, I believe. Something like a 124 defensive rating without Yusuf Nurkic on the court. And basically, it's just funny to see this play out, Eric, because the two biggest narratives all season long for why our defense was struggling was our undersized backcourt is why our defense sucks. See, it's just like Dame and CJ. And we'd sit there and say, well, Dame and CJ together have been in a top 10 defense before. So how does that combination of backcourt make it so it's impossible to be a top 10 defense, right? Now, the thing is they had good defensive players around them. But that was the thing. It was the undersized backcourt, and Yusuf Nurkic sucks all season long. And every time we spoke against that, we got heat for it. But it's just funny. It's, Nurk apologists, and you guys aren't hard enough on Ant, and this and that. And it's just hilarious to see it play out.
We're going to trade him January 15th. Watch.
Yeah. That was a comment too. It's just hilarious at this point to see it play out where, well, you guys got your wish. Drew Eubanks is starting instead of Yusuf Nurkic. Oh, look, our defense isn't any better. You got your wish. It's no longer an undersized backcourt. You got Matisse Thybulle, all-NBA defender, starting at the shooting guard position. And we still suck at defense. If it was the undersized backcourt and Yusuf Nurkic being the reason we sucked at defense, and Drew Eubanks was better than Nurkic defensively, which a ton of people said. And if it was the undersized backcourt that was a problem, why are we still so bad at defense, if not worse? Why? For all the people that gave us pushback on those narratives, why are we worse right now without that undersized backcourt and Yusuf Nurkic?
Yeah, good question.
Is it all Chauncey? Like, what's why? But the thing is, Chauncey's been a constant all season long, so why are we worse?
Here's the deal. You need two basic things to be a good defensive team. You need good defenders at the point of attack, which means getting through screens, pressuring the ball, keeping people away from, just constantly driving downhill down the middle of the paint. And then you need rim protection, which, if you have both of those, your point of attack defenders could be even more aggressive because they know they have, help backside. And if you have good point of attack defenders that aren't giving up much, then the rim protectors don't have to overhelp or chase blocks or whatever. So you need one of those two things, and unfortunately we have neither. And so I am interested to see Bible when Nurk gets back, if they even play Nurk this year. We don't even know if they're purposely keeping Nurk out longer than he needs to be so we don't win some of these games. So it's a case where we need rim protection. We need bigger players. We've known that. Chauncey's even this is where I feel bad for Chauncey. All freaking season, he's talked about needing length in the front court. He needs more size. He needs bigger players to implement his scheme. And this guy Cronin didn't get him anyone, not one single person taller than 6'8", And that all season we heard, we don't have other than Nurk, we have one player over 6'9", right? And so, where is where are these guys? We can't play a pressure defense if we don't have any rim protection back there, and we can't do the things we're doing without that. So, I do feel hopeful that we can get that in the offseason, whether that's draft or trade or whatever. But we definitely need length in the front court, and until that happens, I don't get how anyone can feel comfortable or think that this team should even be winning these games, let alone complaining about them losing, because what are they supposed to do on defense? They don't have good defenders. Other than Matisse Thybulle they brought in, one person can't change a defense,
Yeah. So I'm just looking at some stats right now.
Before you read that up, let me just say, Elias, $10 donation, thank you, with the Hippo Rex sticker. Thank you.
Thank you, Elias. Appreciate you, man. That's what I want to do in this computer chair right now. So rebounding's been an issue. I don't know what it is over the last month. I wish I could separate it into the last month. Actually, wait. Can I? Is there a way? Hold on. I thought there was a way to move this graph based on date. I don't know. Basically, defensive rebound has become a major issue because Drew Eubanks doesn't rebound. Trendon Watford doesn't rebound. Yusuf Nurkic rebounds and keeps teams off the glass, and that's severely underrated. And so many people wanted Miles Turner to be our starting center, who's basically maybe the worst rebounding starting center in the league. We need rebounding. The thing is rebounding's never been a serious issue in the past 5-6 years, outside of some bad stretches, so people underrate how important it is to be able to collect defensive rebounds. We aren't collecting defensive boards. We struggle. We struggle on the glass. We're an average team all season. Rebounding now, since Nurkic went out, I'm pretty sure we were around average when Nurkic went out. Since then, we've fallen to 23rd And just a slice of the season has been so bad that we've fallen from average to 23rd. And that's going to continue to fall. You got too many guys on this team that don't rebound well. It wasn't a problem earlier this season, but that was the problem with trading Josh Hart is, everybody focuses on his shooting is a problem. The fact that he doesn't want to shoot, this and that. So, okay, trade him for somebody that can shoot, great, but your people underrated the subtraction of such a good rebounder at a wing position. He helped our rebounding. Him and Yusuf Nurkic were the only two guys keeping our rebounding average. Without those two guys, we are one of probably the bottom 4 or 5 rebounding teams in the league. We're terrible. So that's the thing is when you have enough of something, you never think about, or a lot of fans never think about what happens if we lose that. They're just focused on, okay, what do we need to do to get better? When we're playing 500 basketball, it's like, okay, where are the weaknesses? How can we address the weaknesses? But guess what? There is a scenario, and I warned fans about this. There is a scenario where you plug one hole and open up another hole somewhere else, and you're not any better. But that's the thing. People don't think about the holes that could open up. They're just focused on, okay, we need this, trade for this. You have to trade for well-rounded players who don't have a bunch of weaknesses in their game. And basically this team right now is filled with a bunch of players that have a bunch of weaknesses in their games. There's players that can do some things well, Trent Watford's passing and handling for a big man, despite him being undersized, is impressive, right? Well, 6 turnovers today, that sucked. But his weaknesses are severe, so you got too many players on this team with too many weaknesses, and it basically just results in a bad basketball team. You need well-rounded players. That's why I love Josh Hart on this team, because he was a well-rounded player. But a lot of people just couldn't get over the fact that he wasn't shooting the 3-ball that confidently. But we've seen him do it before, so you figure out how to fix that. All right, and then he's the perfect role player for you that can help shore up the boards, help with creation, help with literally everything. Swiss Army knife type guy. Would have been great. Look, he's gone to New York, and they win every single game with him at this point. They're currently up 2 with 56 seconds left, so we'll see if that remains the case. In Miami. But they're a surefire playoff team after acquiring him. They've won 7 in a row. And he's shooting the 3-ball well. And it just kind of sucks, man, because that's the type of player we need. But no, that's the type of player we trade, and then we're sitting here with a bunch of guys that have weaknesses just hoping, oh, well, hopefully they can fix them and turn into this, turn into that. It's not going to happen. Trent Watford's a flawed player. Nasir Little's a flawed player. Keon Johnson's a flawed player. Jeremy Grant even is a
right now. You can't even play with no guard depth.
I mean,
they're playing Cam Reddish at point guard in the back of over Keon.
Jeremy Grant's a flawed player. He's not like a versatile defender because he can't get through screens. He's not a good rebounder. He's not somebody you trust to really create for others. You got a lot of guys on this team with weaknesses, and it's a problem.
Rahi said in February they were the worst defensive rebounding the team, only getting 28 rebounds per game. Every other team in the league was at 30+.
Yep. Thank you, Rahi. Appreciate that. Yep.
In the Blazers' defense, they're letting the team score so often that there's not a lot of rebounds available, but
well, yeah, that's why you gotta look at defensive rebounding percentage.
I was joking.
Rahi, I'm just saying for Rahi. Rahi, can you find defensive rebound percentage for the month of February?
I'm sure it's last still.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny when we do get a rebound and then a Kongu just grabs it out of Trendon's hands and lays it.
Because we're soft. Okay, here's the other thing I noticed in this game, Eric. We are so unphysical. Is that a word? Non-physical. We are so soft.
I know what you mean, though.
We don't get into ball handlers. We don't absorb contact with our chest on the ball. If a guy drives at us, we kind of just back up and let him just drive right through us. On rebounds, we don't body people off. We just get shoved around. And part of that is due to size, but part of it is just, dude, we got some guys that just don't play strong enough.
I thought we were going to be the team no one wanted to play because we were tough and physical and competed and all that stuff.
Yeah, so this offseason, right, everybody talks about size and length. I also want guys that play strong. Guys that are strong. Guess what? You know who the strongest player on this team has been this year? Outside
Dame.
of maybe Yusuf Nurkic? I mean, you could say Dame, but Josh Hart plays strong.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's the thing. We lost Nurkic, and then we lost Hart. Those two guys... Those two guys helped with so many of our weaknesses that without them, the weaknesses are glaring. It's the rebounding and it's the physicality. That's what those two guys help with.
And then we do finally get like Nas diving to the floor, grabs a loose ball, and then he just throws it right to a Hawks player, and it's just, oh man. Chris G asked earlier, is it just him, or do the players just turn around and stand there after a rebound and watch the ball? And they absolutely do that. Yeah. There's that's part of the physicality Tori's talking about, is like physical players will put a body on someone and prevent them from getting anywhere near the offensive boards. And we just have a bunch of guys who, as soon as a shot goes up, they're just looking, they turn around wherever they are, they get a rebound. If it bounces right back to them, that's the Jeremy Grant rebounds. So, like, anytime he has 8 rebounds, that means the ball bounced off the rim right to him 8 times in a game, basically.
Yeah.
There's way too many people who just watch the rebound come off instead of actually boxing someone out and attacking the glass. And Sharp's been doing it with his athleticism. Like, he doesn't box out, but at least he, like, chases the ball up in the air and jumps high and gets it sometimes. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we just I don't know if there's a team box out stat, but I guarantee you we're last in the league in that too.
Here's the thing: is we've prioritized athletic players, but what's usually the case with an athletic player? Normally, they're pretty light, right? They're not super bulky, super strong. Not everyone is Zion Williamson, of course, right? So the issue I have is we prioritize all these athletes, but then we don't optimally utilize their athleticism, and then they get physically dominated.
Well, with the athletic team, you should be pressuring more. You should be rotating faster. You should be playing up-tempo, both on offense and getting back on defense. Your transition defense should be a lot better because you can fly up and down the court. So, yeah, that's always frustrating that our transition defense, we gave up a corner missed 3 by Trendon, and no one gets back on defense. They just outlet it to Sadiq Bey, and he gets a layup in the first half. But yeah, like, where's the pressure pressing, like full court press or half court press or half court trap or something? Like, where's that kind of stuff? We see it all the time against us. Yeah.
And that's the thing, man, is, we go out. Whoops, let me mute ESPN.
Randall just hit a
three-pointer
with 0.7 seconds left to give them a 1-point lead.
Wow. How do you have 23 seconds and you don't shoot a shot until 1 second left and it's a Julius Randle 3 when you're down 1?
I don't know. Obviously, we're streaming, so I didn't get to see it. But...
Yeah, that's just funny. Like, looking at the game log, they had 23 seconds, and they didn't get a shot off, because normally you want the chance for the offensive board. They can't get a shot off until, basically, they have no chance to get an offensive board, and they're only down 1, so it doesn't matter whether there's 2 or 3 in that situation, and it's a 3 from Julius Randle, and it was a step back, apparently. 26-foot step back 3. So, wild, but the Knicks just can't lose. Jake Harris says Tori muting ESPN ads is definitely on the Uprise bingo board. Yeah, maybe we need to make Uprise bingo boards for the rest of the season just for entertainment purposes, because this team is not going to be entertaining. But as far as the physicality goes, like, Justice Winslow was a name people tossed out there. I just don't think he's good enough. Like, you want guys that are physical and play hard, and guys that are dogs, quote unquote. And the thing is like, a lot of people think they have to be strong, but Zach Collins, when he came in as a rookie, as a second-year player, he wasn't physically strong. He was still pretty skinny, but he was a dog. He came in and played hard. He came in and threw his weight around. He came in and played physically. Right?
Klay Thompson a hoe, and
yeah, he had that edge to him, and that's the thing with the team in the past is we had that edge. We had guys that could play physically. We had guys that would throw their body into the mix and body guys off of boards. And Al-Farouq Aminu, Mo Harkless, Yusuf Nurkic has been that guy in the past. Zach Collins, Ed Davis, right? Even an Evan Turner. We've had guys that have been able to play physically, and we've gotten away from that. And it's become a problem. It's not just a size issue, it's a physicality issue. It's a strength issue. Josh Hart, yes, he wasn't super long for the starting small forward spot, but he played physical. Now, still obviously it'd be nice to have some length, but you need guys that can also play physical with that length, which is part of the problem I had with the Cam Reddish acquisition is people say, oh, he has length. Okay, sure. He's not a physical player, though. He doesn't help the Blazers regain that edge from a physicality standpoint.
Game's final, Knicks win. Yeah,
Bulls lost by 21. Go ahead.
Completely agree with all that. Yep. Need to be tough. And unfortunately, some coaches can, get their team to play tougher than they are.
Yeah.
I don't, outside of maybe Lou Dort, I don't think OKC's exactly a tough team, but they're always competing in physical and defense and stuff. So I think you can get that out of your team with the right coaching staff, but unfortunately for Chauncey, it's just a case where either he doesn't know how to do it or he just is incapable of doing it, something, but everything he preached as a coach coming in or what he wanted to implement just doesn't seem to be how the team plays for him. So I don't know if that's something he can figure out eventually, because I don't think he's going to get fired. But I don't know, maybe you just have to get the right players into where you don't have to worry about him getting a player to do something he's not shown that he can do in the past. And that's been my problem with pretty much every move that Cronin's made. It's all players that don't necessarily fit. Even Jeremy Grant wasn't a great fit for what Chauncey wants, to his team to look like. So hopefully some of the moves this summer, even if it's the draft route, you bring in guys that are physically tough and provide that just naturally, and you don't have to turn them into that type of player.
Yep. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. Ol Jakob with a 20 Norwegian crony dono says, quick game recap please, didn't make the game. Thank you, Jakob, for the donation. As far as the game recap goes, all the overarching themes that we're talking about being issues right now basically played out in this game. They gave up 129 points. They couldn't play a lick of defense.
Ton of offensive rebounds.
Yeah. It's nothing new. That's the thing. Atlanta not only made a lot of shots, they had 10 offensive rebounds.
And then there was a couple times Cam Reddish gets hot in the fourth quarter. I think he had 13 at least in the fourth. But you keep he'll hit a couple threes and you're oh, maybe we'll get back in this. And then you look at the scoreboard, we're still down 20 because we can't stop anyone.
Yeah. Nasir Little is a non-factor offensively right now. 0 for 1 from 3 in his 15 minutes. Sharp's 1 for 5 from 3. Watford's 0 for 2. So the bench goes 1 for 8 from 3. Just not enough shooting on the bench, and that's the thing is people brought up Winslow earlier. Winslow's not going to help with that either. Not only do you have a lack of physicality, but normally if you have a lack of physicality and size, you make up for that with quickness, perimeter skill, and three-point shooting. We don't do that either. We don't make up for it in that way either. So it's just a really poorly built team right now. Even in the past, it's when we had guys you knew Nick Stauskas could at least shoot threes, and then bringing Seth Curry, 3-point shooter, Rodney Hood, 3-point shooter, and ISO scorer, and could post up smaller guys, right? Zach Collins, versatile defensive big, Enes Kanter before Nurkic got hurt, rebounds and finishing on the inside. It's guys that were good at things, clear-cut roles, guys that were good at things, and guys that you didn't have to play in ways that would showcase their weaknesses, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the problem is like when you don't have any shot creation on the bench, then all of a sudden you're tasking guys that aren't shot creators to try and create things, and they're going to struggle in that way. And our best creator off the bench, arguably today, Eric, was Trendon Watford, who's a power forward center type, and he has 6 turnovers, right? Like, he can create, but you don't want to have to rely on him as your main guy to create. You want him as a secondary creator, not a primary guy. So that's the problem, and that's part of the reason he had 6 turnovers.
Well, and then Grant's 3-point regression on top of that. Like, there was a time in the third quarter where Dame, we were hovering around cutting it to single digits several times. Dame drives, kicks out to Grant, and like 3 out of 4, I think it was 3 out of 4 or 5 possessions where he kicked out to Grant on a drive, and Grant was just bricking those right now. Fortunately, he's really struggled to shoot the 3 ball since the turn of the year, or since
he had a couple impressive defensive moments though, but that was him being able to play around the rim. He had 3 blocks. That's how he needs to be utilized. But that's the thing, is like with Thibault, you can utilize Grant more like that. At times, Chauncey's not doing it, and then when he does, it's like our defense is still a problem.
Yep. The Kardashian curse. That never even actually became public.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, it's just frustrating. I mean, I would love to see what his percentage is since he became contract eligible on January 6th. Like,
it's like low 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, on the season, he's still shooting 40% on the year, but guys will tend to trend towards their career numbers.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility he's trying to prove that he's worth more than that 4-1-12 and pressing a little bit, and it's in his head now. And yeah. But yeah, I still don't think we have any choice but to re-sign him.
Yep.
And it's going to be more than the 4-1-12, because why wouldn't he just take that if that's what he's going to sign for?
And Jeremy Grant is he's a cautionary tale in terms of not over-believing in the way Matisse Thybulle is shooting the ball right now. Because Thybulle, since coming over to Portland before this game, 54% from 3 in a Blazer uniform. And then in this game, Thybulle goes 2 for 5, which is 40%. Obviously, you'd take that. He's been a career 32%er. But at some point, his shooting will trend towards that 32% that he's proven to be over the past 4 years. Now, does he regress all the way to being a 32%er, or is he a 35 or 36 or 37%er? Because there's a big difference in those two numbers. You don't really have to respect a 32% three-point shooter. If you're giving him wide open shots and he's shooting that number, you don't have to guard him. You can stay in the lane and clog everything up. He's only scoring 0.96 points per shot, which is not good. It's basically the equivalent of a 96 offensive rating. Not good. Offensive ratings are in the 110 to 120 range. So if he can shoot, 37%, that is more in line with efficient offense. So that's the key. He's obviously not gonna keep shooting it 50% that he is right now in a Portland uniform. It's just, I see people on Twitter after like 6-7 games of him shooting the ball well saying, "Oh, I'm believing in him being a good 3-point shooter now. Like, he's a good 3-point shooter now." And I mean, maybe, but as I said, we need more time to figure that out, because Jeremy Grant, the first half of the season, was an elite shooter, like a top 10 3-point shooter in the league. But guess what? He's trended towards his career numbers, which tend to happen. So that's what we'll have to wait and see with Thybulle.
And, I mean, Thybulle, once again, is getting insanely clean looks, too. Like, most of them are wide open where the defense doesn't even come out on him. But to his credit, he is shooting the ball well. Rahi, I'm curious what those splits are since. Those obviously aren't a split since the beginning of the year. But Trevin said before January 6th, when he was contract eligible, this is Jeremy Grant, 45.2%. Since then, 31.3 from 3.
Yep. But if anything, that's just, he had a hot shooting stretch and then he's having a shooting slump. And that's why his average is what it is for his career.
Have a good day, Jakob. Thanks for tuning in for a few minutes before work.
Yep, see you, Jakob. Appreciate you.
All right, yeah. So Rahi has since January 6th, he's averaging 17.9 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 1.8 assists on 45, 30.5, 84.7 splits, 56.9 true shooting percentage.
And his defense has been questionable for the most part. Rebounding bad. Mediocre efficiency on 17 points per game. I mean, since that date, Jeremy Grant has not been a winning player. He hasn't necessarily been bad because he's still giving you 17 and he'll still give you some good defensive moments, but that's a big part of the problem. Is at the start of the season he was a huge part in the Blazers starting 10-4, but that was also unsustainable shooting. Now he's having his worst stretch. In this worst stretch, he hasn't been a guy that's helped the Blazers win games. Sure, he's still been the second or third best player on the floor, but that's an indictment against everybody else on the team. Like, you look at the way Josh Hart's playing in New York, that's a winning player. Makes winning plays. Winning defensive plays. He's been defending well in New York. Finishing well. Brings energy. Rebounds. Does little things. Jeremy Grant doesn't really do little things. So, you still have to pay him if you're the Blazers. I'm not saying they shouldn't pay him. You have to. But you're stuck between a rock and a hard place where it was like, oh, this dude can help us win games. This is the type of guy we need at the start of the season. And now it's like, oh, we're going to have to pay him $30 million. And in the last almost 2 months, he's looked like a guy that's not able to help us actually contend or win games or anything.
Mm-hmm. It's frustrating because earlier in the season, I mean, you could definitely make the case that we look like idiots for saying we didn't want Grant. But and now where's all that now?
Yep. Where's DJ Vega?
He's not here tonight because I was going to ask him that same question. Do we still have to apologize, or how does that work?
Yeah. Because this is where some of our reluctance came in with him not being super great on the ball, and there was the questions about whether he wanted to even be here. Which is why we questioned the thought of picking him up. Like, imagine if Jeremy Grant didn't want to be here on top of the way he's playing. Yeah, so that's a problem. Shout to Natran with a $5 donut. Says, question with the team tanking for 2 seasons. Do you think this could cause Dame to get frustrated and request a trade? Thank you, Na, for the $5 dono. I mean, at what point are we going to stop questioning Dame's word? Yeah. Like, just take Dame for his word. Yeah. If he wants a trade, then he'll come out and say he wants a trade. But why speculate on him requesting a trade when his word has been consistent for 11 years?
Yeah. And he's always going to believe in the team and himself, whether he does that or not. And basically, with everything he said, he's basically made it to where he can't do that now. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of looks like I wouldn't blame him, but like everyone else would be like, oh, what happened to being loyal and all this stuff right now if he requests a trade after everything he said, every answer he's given. So I think he's kind of put himself in a situation where he's going to be in Portland. And I mean, it was just a week ago he's saying like, this is stupid, like, don't ever ask me again. And then like he's saying, you all better hope I don't win a championship in Portland because I'm gonna go off on people if I do. So like,
it's more than just winning. He's made it obvious that it's more than just about winning and losing. But every time we lose, people always wonder, oh, could he leave because we're losing? He's shown that it's not based on that.
Na's a good friend of mine though, so yeah. I'm not gonna say anything mean about it, but yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying anything mean about it. It's just at what point do we stop having these conversations? You know?
Yeah, I just think like you have to plan. I mean, for Dame to ask out after basically everyone in the organization saying they're trying to win for him and doing all this stuff. Now I could understand if he's frustrated this summer if we don't get someone, but I don't think that means he'll ask out. I think he'll ask Jody to. Maybe he could ask Jody to sell the team, but maybe he'd ask maybe he'd realize that, Cronin's not capable of giving him what he wants. Maybe he realizes that Chauncey's not a good coach for him. Maybe that now
I don't
that
think
he's
that's
got,
going to happen. You put
but
faith
he's
in
art.
Stotts for the longest time.
Yeah, but maybe he, realizes now that like, you can't just keep going because you're loyal. Like maybe you have to. But Dame's always going to be the type that thinks he can win no matter what his team is. And if you put some players around him, like I wouldn't blame him for thinking that they're not that far away. Like I mentioned this during the game in the group chat, but like 15 blown double-digit leads this season. I mean, we win like 10 of those 15 games, and we're talking about being home court advantage team right now. Like we're not talking about
every mediocre team in our range has blown a lot of leads.
Right, but
because they just can't hang on to leads because they're not good enough.
But what I'm saying is those kind of things are like, if you're from Dave's perspective, you have to be feeling like you're not that far away, and I don't think he's like necessarily wrong with that, but I just feel like he's always going to believe in his abilities, and I think if you just make a couple savvy moves this summer, and I mean, of course, we all want it to be like an Embiid type move or whatever. Like that would be great, and then Dame can feel good about it. But like short of that, I still think there's some good moves you could have if you had a good GM. Yeah.
I mean, if we get lucky, we get Wemby. And Dame. Do you know how much Dame would love
Cronin,
to play?
That saves Chauncey. That saves Dame. That saves everyone.
I mean, that is literally like the cure-all. Like our franchise is saved. We're set for the next 7-8 years. Like that. I mean, that's why I'm rooting for losses. Is if we got Victor Wembanyama, that would change everything. That would change everything. Every conversation would change. The timeline, all of a sudden, you're not even worried about like future versus win now timeline because you got a guy that maximizes both.
That's
like
a cheap contract, so Jody's doesn't have to get rid of him or whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's like, and here's the thing. You could still go after Embiid if you got Wemby with Sharp and the Knicks pick in future first, right? Like if he became available. It's not like you can't go out and get a center because Wemby can play the 4, 7'4", 7'5", or whatever he is. He's quick enough. That might be the best position for him starting out. Like that's the thing is everything changes with that possibility. I don't want to get my hopes up. But dude, like, I don't know. You know how I'm always like, we don't get nice things? I feel like at some point, because we never get nice things, something good will happen. Like, at some point, the basketball gods will be like, okay, we're done torturing you here.
Nick, no team is trading the number 1 pick this year unless they're getting like Embiid, Giannis, or Jokic or something. Like, yeah. You have to get the number 1 pick, and in Portland's case, I think they're one of the few teams that might consider trading it if they got it. But yeah, there's no team that's going to trade for any amount of picks. Like OKC could offer 17 first-round picks, and the team's not trading the number 1 pick this year.
Yep. Let's do Tankathon Sim in a second. Shout out.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say.
Emerson with the 30-month member message. 30 months! That's 2.5 years. Thank you, Emerson. Appreciate you. One of the longest tenured goats of this channel. Says, so sad for the goat Dame. Very. He used the goat emoji and our custom Dame emoji. Shout out to Emerson for using the custom emoji. Shout out Brian Tadovich for a $2 donut. Says, sign and trade Grant for Bridges. It would take a lot more than Grant to get Bridges. But thank you, Brian, for the $2 dono. Bridges today went off. How many points did he finish with, Eric?
Let me look.
38. 38, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 13 for 22 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3. Yeah, Bridges has been phenomenal in Brooklyn so far. And Brooklyn got a big win in Boston. Very surprising win. The Knicks are 4.5 games up on the 7th seed. So, looking like that pick's gonna convey unless they choke, which it's the Knicks. You can't rule it out. And then shout out to Eric Wolf with a $5 donor. Says, haven't tuned in lately. Student life is nuts. Go Beavs in parentheses. But appreciate the objectivity and analyzing ball, not just drama. Brant's breakdown back soon. Thank you, Eric, for the $5 dono. Hopefully your college courses and everything are going well. It's not like this team should be too distracting right now because they're so freaking bad. Brant's breakdown back soon. I
mean, what's the point when we're losing by every game at 20? It's just it's frustrating to like break down a play that had no significance on the game because we lost by 20. You know, like
yeah. Exactly. And just with how there's guys on this team that seem to have questionable effort, and Chauncey's not doing anything. Yeah, I agree with that. So, if anything, we would do Brant's breakdown on a couple prospects. If anything. Anyway, let's go to Tankathon.
Yeah. My screen just went white screen. The heck?
That's not good.
Yeah. It's never done this while streaming before.
Strange. Is it better now?
No, it's completely gone. I don't think I can get it back without restarting it, but I'm also still alive, right? So
yeah, your mic got a little quieter, but other than that, I think, yeah, you're fine. All right, Tankathon Sim, and then you can restart your computer. So Portland right now is in 8th, tied for 8th with the Thunder. They're a half game back of the Bulls. 1.5 games back of the Pacers, and 2.5 games back of Orlando, who the Blazers play. Eric?
That's my bad. I was trying to bring up the stream on my phone.
I was going to say, like, that's not my ad, that's your ad.
Mute in time. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So Orlando's our next opponent on Sunday. Oh, I really hope we lose that game. I'm rooting so hard for a loss. It's back to, like, rooting for Isaiah Roby to crush us, but instead this time it's Banchero and Franz Wagner. We can't guard those guys. They're going to go off. Let's go. Because if we lose that game, we'll only be 1.5 games back of having 10.5% chances at our savior. At the most hyped stream in history. If we got Victor Wembanyama, if we got the number 1 pick in the draft lottery, that stream would be the most hyped stream we've ever had. You want to see us celebrate with happiness for the first time ever? There you go.
People really want us to do a live lottery party.
A live lottery party? Would you guys actually show up? Because I asked people.
Well, I think it just depends. If we're like 5th, I think we could get a lot of people to show up. If we're 10th, I don't think so.
I mean,
but we could all just jump around and celebrate together.
I did a Twitter poll for the first in-person game watch party we did, and only like 150 people replied to it. And I asked, would you go to a in-person watch party if we hosted one? And like there were 60 yes votes, and that was only out of 150 people on Twitter. So you would think, okay, we can get even more than that, right? With everybody that watches the channel. We had like 25. It was fun. It was just like people say they wanted Eric, and then they don't show up.
Well, I mean, in some people's defense, Monday night home game, some people already going to the games. Both of them have been on a Monday home game, so I don't know if we would have gotten more people on a away game or a different night or whatever.
I mean,
not saying we could have done a different night.
You would think based on the poll, we would be able to get more than 60, even taking that into account. You know, it's 150 people out of our almost 8,000 subs, so you're talking about a very, very small fraction that you had 60 yes votes on.
None of our mods could even go to either one.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't trust people. I don't trust that people would show up for that. I don't trust that.
Yeah.
And it'd
Just have
be
it free. Yeah.
yeah, I mean still, it'd be a 30-minute stream at best and then we're done. Like I don't really understand that. I mean it'd be cool, it's just logistically doesn't really seem like it would make a ton of sense. But anyway, let's look at Tankathon and back to Tankathon. So Orlando rooting for a loss, right? And then Indiana the same day. Indiana plays Chicago, so we won't be all the way up to 6th. But if we lose, we'll either be in 8th if Indiana beats Chicago, and we'll be a half game behind those and a game and a half behind 5th. Or we'll be in 7th if Chicago wins. We'll be a game and a half behind Orlando and Indiana for 5th. That's if we lose on Sunday. So Sunday's a big day in this tank race, Eric.
Very big.
Very, very big. So right now, Portland, the odds would be evened out. If they had 8th place alone, it'd be 6% chance at the number 1 overall pick, right? But we can almost double that if we get up to 5th. So let's simulate this thing and cross our fingers. 14 Lakers via New Orleans, 13 Toronto, 12 Utah, 11 Washington, 10 is OKC, meaning the Lakers, I think that's the Lakers pick that New Orleans has moved up. Next should be Portland. And it is indeed Portland. The Pelicans better not be number 1. At 4, you got the... Scroll up here. Detroit Pistons. At 3, you got the Pelicans via the Lakers. At 2, Indiana. And at 1, San Antonio. San Antonio gets Wemby.
Good for them.
Yep. There we go. We got 3. I am loving the idea of trading down. If we get a top 4 pick, trading down to like 6, maybe 7, and getting Jarris Walker and getting another asset.
Yeah.
If we're like 2 through 4. Because Jarris Walker, let's talk draft prospects a little bit here. We talked about physicality, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
In the draft, it would be nice to... it's tough in the draft because a lot of guys come in skinny because they're young and they haven't had the time to develop an NBA body. Like I like Taylor Hendricks and you like Taylor Hendricks because he's skilled, he's tall, he can play defense. The one area where it'd probably be an issue is he struggles a little bit with physicality. He's going to come into the NBA and he's not going to be somebody that sets the tone from a physicality standpoint. So you'd have to find that elsewhere.
Well, to be fair, we don't really know that because it's not super. He hasn't played in a lot of super physical games.
Yeah. He just seems like he gets moved. Like he doesn't have the strongest base. In like upper body, he's not. I wouldn't say he has an NBA body yet. He's not super skinny, but he's kind of in between there. But there are a couple of guys in this draft with just ready to come in and be like physical NBA players. Jarris Walker, I would say, is one of them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people in terms of NBA ready, like athleticism or toughness. If you're just talking physicality, though, yeah, that narrows the list a little bit.
Yeah. Bryce Sensabaugh is a wing, so it doesn't really make sense for us, but he's like 230 pounds, something like that. But I like Jarris Walker a lot defensively, especially, but also his physicality, the physicality he can play with. So if the Blazers end up with the 2nd pick, 3rd pick, 4th pick, if you could move down a couple of spots and take him, then that would be ideal. Pick up another asset and then put that into play somehow. So that's what I would be happy with if we don't get Wembanyama.
Yep. I'm all aboard if we got Jarris somehow. And
Who?
if we get him and assets to do that's even better.
Yeah. The thing is I don't think we're going to be able to get him unless we move up.
Yeah.
We'd have to get up to like
Well,
5 or 6 and then not fall because he's going to go top
yeah.
6, I think.
Yeah, maybe 7, but yeah. Because I do see a scenario where Miller and the two Thompson twins go ahead of him still, so that would make it 7, right? No, there's still one
6.
more pick. 6, yeah. So
And
you
I
need someone to fall in love with, like Cam Whitmore or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But yeah, 6, 7, I think, is the worst we can be to get him.
Yeah, I just feel like he's slotted in there perfectly as the 6th best prospect in this draft. I feel like there's a bit of a drop off there after him. There always seems to be tiers in the draft at this time of the year, but then those always tend to change. So there definitely is a chance that somebody could rise. I'm just... Who do you think would be the best, most likeliest prospect below that to rise and potentially go ahead of him?
Sorry, I can't even look at anything on my computer, so I'm no help right now.
So like I'll name names like Nick Smith, Keontae George, Cam Whitmore, Anthony Black.
Nick Smith is a guy that if one of those teams needs a scoring guard, I think you could definitely have a chance to go top 7.
Yeah. Do you want to restart your computer?
Sure.
Is that okay? All right. Just let me know when you're ready for me to call you again. Anyway, let me mute that. In chat, I will talk with y'all. What do you want to talk about? I haven't really watched the Thompson twins. Stats-wise, they're like exactly the same. What's the reason Amen is consistently ranked above Asar? I'm not entirely sure. Feeling on Shaden right now. I mean, he's super young. Like, we shouldn't have expected him to come in and provide anything. So the problem is it's gotten to a point where our bench is so bad we're expecting him to provide something for it, and I think that's a little bit unfair considering he's still 19 and didn't play in college. So he has to get stronger. He has to get better with his ball handling, better off the dribble. I mean, that's just where his upside lies. And then defensively, he has to, strength would help him on both sides of the floor, and then has to get a little smarter on that end. But yeah, it's just kind of hard to say because I feel like the expectations became too high for him. Do you think we're going to unload some of our draft picks and trades this summer to build a win-now team or keep them? I mean, I don't know. Their plan could be to pursue certain guys, but sometimes you don't get those guys, and then you have backup plans. Like, they wanted Jared Vanderbilt at this deadline. They didn't get him. So they pivoted. So I'm sure they'll look at options for trading those picks, but I don't think it's something where like, oh, they're going to do it or oh, they're not. Everything is fluid, especially when you're the team trying to get guys compared to the team that's selling guys. Because when the Blazers were trading Norman Powell, CJ McCollum, it was like, okay, you're trying to maximize asset value, right? Well, unfortunately, Cronin didn't really try to maximize asset value, but that's another conversation. When you're selling, you're trying to get the most back for a piece. Whereas if you're the team going out and trying to get guys, it's dependent upon what every other team that wants them offers. So you might think you have a good package, it still might not be good enough. Only one team gets that player. There could be 10 teams interested. So that guy might be the plan, but it's also a situation where it's probably unlikely that you're able to land them. So it's hard to even predict what they're going to do this offseason. And as far as like plans go, you have to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. You know, at some point, it would be a situation where, okay, they just draft 2 guys with those picks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was basically what happened this past offseason, so.
Yeah, once again, if you're talking about trading all our picks for, like all our future picks and stuff, I mean, even if it's for someone like Embiid, what's really the point of having Mike Schmitz on the staff? Like,
Yeah.
like we brought him into draft, so like,
I mean,
I don't think it's a coincidence we're loading up on draft picks and stuff.
I mean, does he have no role in terms of like scouting guys that are already in the league?
Well, he probably does because he has like a huge
Yeah.
scouting report on basically every player that's been drafted since he started doing it. But so yeah, maybe a little bit of that, but
I kind of hope we're molding him into a future GM.
Yeah.
And he can replace Cronin.
I mean, I don't know anything about it.
Oh, I would love that.
Someone asked, would you trade the 4th or it was AJ, would you trade the 4th or 5th pick for Mikhail?
On top of what filler salary?
Well, that's the problem. We didn't get
Yeah.
we didn't get any contracts at the deadline, so we have to include like I think we basically have to include Sharp. It's like Sharp, Nas, Keon, and Knox or something like. Maybe not one of those last two. Maybe only one out of those last 2 guys. So, yeah, that's the problem. Like, not only are we giving up the 4th or 5th pick, but we're also having to either get rid of Nurk or Sharp or Ant. Like pretty much has to be in that trade.
Yeah, if you're giving up the 4th or 5th pick, I don't want to give up either of any of those 3 guys. So, like, I would trade the 5th pick straight up for him. It's a 6th pick straight up for him, but with the extra stuff that it would take to match his salary, it's a different conversation. Because he's making almost 22 million next year, meaning we have to trade out 17 million. How are we getting to that salary mark, man? Is the question. I mean, Nas is 6.2 mil, so we're still 11 million short.
AJ, our biggest TP is a little over 8 million, and you can't combine it with anything. So
yeah, it can only absorb
combine.
salary that's less than it, basically.
If a player makes more than 8 million or whatever, that it's a non-starter. You can't mix it with anything. So that's why we should have gotten a contract. That's why Tori and I always say that, and that's why Portland did that, so they don't have to make these decisions in the offseason, and they can continue to be cheap. And then everyone's like, well, we didn't have the salary, and they didn't want Nurk or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Yep. If we had James Wiseman, then you could say James Wiseman little in the 5th or 6th pick for Mikal Bridges hypothetically, and it would match.
Yep.
But
or just could have used GP2 if we still had him. Yeah.
But instead, we get Cam Reddish, who's a free agent this offseason. Matisse Thybulle is a free agent this offseason. But that's the thing, is we try and explain that, and we're mad because of that
Wiseman
reality.
Sucks, Tori. Wiseman sucks.
No,
why would you want Wiseman, idiot?
We're mad about that reality, our contract situation, and it's a bunch of people that don't understand that reality whatsoever that are always on Twitter talking down upon us for being too negative. When we understand things that they don't. Like, it's frustrating, man.
That's the first thing you and I both thought of when we got a bunch of second-round picks and a first-round pick, and then we hear, oh, we're going to be super active this summer. Like, with what?
Yeah.
Like, because that's the problem. Like, even if, like, we got the 9th pick and they wanted it for Mikhail straight up, like, we can't do it because we don't have, like, an expiring contract that's not part of our starters or core or whatever. Like, it's just so frustrating. Maybe you get into a situation where then if they really wanted the 4th pick, like, then you talk, like, say we need Mikhail and Claxton if we're giving up Sharp and stuff, but then you still have to give up other stuff that we have to match his contract too. It's it just
Yeah.
becomes so difficult.
I mean, the Nets do have the 21st and 22nd picks, so maybe you just trade Nurk in that package and figure out how to fill the center hole. But that's the center hole the center spot is a major issue without Yusuf Nurkic. So you're filling both center spots in that case if you're actually seriously trying to win. So maybe you can pivot the 21st, 22nd picks into a cheap big that can be your backup, and then you use an MLE on a starter. It's just such a tough position to fill after that. Because
Jeremy Grant, full-time starter, center.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked, do we have flexibility if we don't sign Grant? Nope, not really. Not really.
Nope, we have to pay him or we lose him for nothing and don't really get any positives out of that. I guess, wherever he goes, we could sign and trade him, but I don't think we're getting much back for him. And then it's like, okay, well, if we're getting 2 first-round picks, which is probably the most we could hope for, what are we turning those into?
Rohan, nope, you cannot sign Cam Reddish to a $10 million contract and trade him. He has to agree to a contract but not sign it with another team. And then, because the minute he signs, he becomes ineligible to be signed and traded, and we have to match the offer, assuming in that scenario we offered him a qualifying offer, and also the other team would have to agree to a 3-year or longer 3 or 4 year contract for him. So, no, you can't just re-sign your own free agents and trade them. That's illegal. And unless it just works out magically, like in the Utah-Cleveland trade, where you have a guy like Colin Sexton who's been sitting there for a month off no one signed him, and Utah just agrees to basically sign him so they can make a trade work because they're getting so many more pieces. Yeah. So it makes it worth it. But yeah, no team's going to want a 3-year, $30 million contract for Cam Reddish this summer. So, yeah. Technically, we can trade Billups for draft compensation or cash and things like that. Not a player, but so yeah, technically we could trade Billups if a team offered us. We always joked about that with Stotts. Like if a team offered us a 2nd round pick, it would be awesome. But yeah, he hasn't even gotten a job since then.
Chauncey's been bad enough, or maybe I'd give up a couple seconds to get rid of him.
Our owner is so cheap. That's why we got 5 seconds.
Yeah, our owner is so cheap. We have to cap dump our head coach.
Oh man, that's so sad, but it's like it's not that far off from being reality right now.
Oh goodness, man.
Like we're just happy we didn't give up the Knicks first to get off his contract.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't affect the salary cap at all. Oh my god. I've never even considered that before, salary dumping a coach.
That's hilarious. Wow. Could we trade him to a place to be an assistant? Like could we trade our head coach to a team that already has a head coach? Could Ty Lue be like, I want Chauncey back now?
I don't know. I mean, I think that Billups has to agree. It's kind of like a sign and trade. He has to agree that he wants to be that position on whatever team. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's enjoying being the head coach right now, though. So maybe he wants to. Chauncey, you're not built for this. You'll still get paid. You get to be with your guy Ty Lue.
That's like their favor in return for us for.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Giving them Norman Rocco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we said you owe us a favor later. If we want to quit on Chauncey, you have to trade for him and absorb that salary. We know Ballmer can pay it. We know Ballmer's not tripping about that. Ty Lue on the hot seat too. Oh yeah, there you go, Eric. We'll trade him for Ty Lue. I don't want Ty Lue either, though. I don't really like Ty Lue.
Braden says, please clips. Okay.
Please Clippers.
Oh, please clips. Yeah. Clippers. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So I don't even know where we're going with this conversation.
Connor makes a joke. You can tell half of Blazers Twitter that we need to dump Chauncey's contract to deduct the tax, and they believe it. Yeah, that's fairly logical. So we have another. We probably have a lot of new people here. It's been kind of funny because like I see a lot of sign and trade stuff now with. We got all these guys that are free agents at the deadline, Jeremy Grant as well. It's been kind of a running joke in previous years that's the most triggering thing for me is the phrase sign and trade. I cannot stand it because people think, I mean, we told people, we freaking told all of you we were not going to sign and trade for DeAndre Ayton in the offseason. And yet we still heard all this stuff like, oh, Nurk hasn't signed yet. Maybe we're signing and trading for Ayton. Like we're gonna trade our draft pick. We're gonna trade Sharp for him, right? Like even though that's not even possible at the time. Sign and trades are something that happen organically if it works out that another team wants. So like, let's just say I don't know, what's a good team? The Boston Celtics want to sign Jeremy Grant in the offseason and have no cap space. And Jeremy really wants to go there. Then like maybe we work out a trade with them for Jeremy Grant. But like, other than that happening, you can't just call the Boston Celtics and be like, we want to sign and trade you Jeremy Grant. Like, do you want to work out a trade? Like, that's not how it works. Like Jeremy Grant has to want to sign, go talk to them, basically get as far enough to come to contract terms, but they don't have the cap space to sign him outright. And then we'd have to work out a trade. And then on top of that, Jeremy would have to want to leave, and what does that do with Dame and stuff like that? So I don't know. Like it's just the chances of a sign and trade are very slim, and on top of that, it's not something you can sit here right now. Several months before, we're almost 4 months away still from free agency. You can't just like try to make trade machine sign and trades work like you can with actual roster contracts, and that's exactly why Tori and I wanted James Wiseman or Sadiq Bey or Isaiah Hartenstein or whoever it was that has a contract for next year that is tradable. And that's why we wanted that, because then you don't have to worry about all this stupid sign and trade crap. You have the contracts to trade. They're all expiring contracts that would have not been negative contracts in a trade. And yeah, we just chose not to have that option this summer for no reason.
You know what the comments we get are?
What?
3 first-round picks, including our lotto pick, Reddish, Sharp, and Grant for Trae Young.
Okay.
Right on cue. Right on cue. Right on cue. Like, bro, so we can't defend anything and we can't win because we play no defense. Let's sign and trade somehow 2 players in one trade magically to where they want to go. Which, like, Grant, what if Grant doesn't want to go to Atlanta? What if Reddish doesn't want to go back to Atlanta? What? And also, you're trading our lotto pick. We'd have to use our lotto pick before doing that. We'd have to draft somebody with it because the draft is before free agency. You can't sign and trade someone until free agency. But then you do all that for Trae Young, who might be the worst defensive player in the league. So we're just going to have the worst defense historically, and Dame and Trae Young are going to fight for the ball. What?
Might as well sign Isaiah Thomas to be the backup point guard then.
Like, that is just... Not only does Trae Young make absolutely zero sense, um, but oh god, oh god, Trae Young
All
would
right,
clear cut make Portland a contender. There's no way you're not trolling. He's a terrible defender. The defense sucks. The Blazers aren't a contender if they have the worst defense in the league, which they would be guaranteed to have with Trae Young and Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons. It's not 2K where you just collect the highest amount of high-rated players. It's not a game where it's like, this guy's a 96 overall, and this guy's a 91 overall, so if we get this guy with this guy, we can even put the 91 overall at center, and he's still an 87 overall, so he's still good. And then we can have the highest amount of overalls, which means we should win the championship. It's not 2K. That's not how it works.
And people are complaining about our small backcourt now?
Like, yeah, sorry, man, but that's just that trade is like checks every box for unrealisticness and bad and making no sense. Checks every bad box, like. Anyway, like, there's problems on this team that have to be solved. Going all in for a guy that only makes those problems worse makes no sense. Granted, Trae Young can protect the rim. I mean, just look at Ben Simmons.
Yeah, he totally got him up to shoot.
That's why I love Embiid, though, is Embiid solves a lot of problems, and he's really good.
Did we miss any donations?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so.
We have the number one offense over, like, for, I think, 2 months, maybe even 3 months now. Like, we don't need more bench. We don't need scoring, and that's with Ant missing, several of those games, Nurk being out for a while. Like we don't need another scorer.
We need guys that make it easy as easy as possible on Dame offensively, and guys that can help the team beat a trap. Which Embiid is obviously both of those to the maximum extent. And that's what we need offensively. The bigger, more pressing need is defense, which
ESPN has allowed me.
I'm not playing ESPN, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah. Let's Simon, Sharp, Sign, Trey Grant, and 5 first. And this is the topper. Throw in Baji, and we got Embiid. Why even mention Baji?
Who said that? How does
Same guy.
Oh. I mean, yeah, Baji is out of 2 ways, so he's going to be a free agent. I mean, Embiid is the dream, but yeah, it'd be Simon, Sharp, and first-round picks for Embiid and Nurkic is the dream, but basically, it's either Embiid or Wembanyama. If neither one is in a Blazer uniform next season, I don't see how the Blazers are contenders. Is there an alternative path to contention next year, Eric?
For then what?
Outside of Wembanyama or Embiid?
I mean, next year is tough. I mean, there's players in every draft that end up helping teams right away and are really good. I mean, if we find the next Kawhi Leonard or something, like, I don't think it's that out of the realm of possibility, but
I mean, Kawhi Leonard help us? Would rookie Kawhi or rookie Giannis help us contend next year?
Rookie Giannis, no. Enough. Rookie Kawhi, I think, was really good right away.
He was really good, but not good enough, I don't think. Like, Who's the Kawhi in this year's draft, though?
I'm not saying Kawhi, like someone's going to be like Kawhi. I'm just saying someone who ends up being really good right away. I don't think it's that out of the realm of possibility, especially with 2 shots at it or whatever. But yeah,
I mean, he was a really good defensive player, averaged 8 and 5 in 24 minutes a game. Couldn't that be Thibault? Like,
yeah. I mean, he had a really good team. I don't know if stats that really tell the whole story. But
I mean, yeah, he had a really good team. Yeah. I don't know. I think rookies can help because we were having this argument earlier in our group chat. I think rookies can help this team be better next year for sure. I don't think not moving up in the draft we're going to be able to draft well enough to contend. I just don't think that's realistic whatsoever. So that's the thing. Is like the only chance to contention, like outside of something crazy miraculous, would be Wembanyama or Embiid to me. I don't know what other trade targets out there would really move the needle that have any sort of chance of getting dealt whatsoever. Like Giannis isn't getting traded. Siakam, I don't think gets us to contention. OG, I don't think gets us to contention.
yeah, we need like 2 of those guys.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is happening either.
Yeah. So, dreaming big because we need something big. Figuratively and literally. We need a big, so.
Yeah, Eric Olson says, I hated our trade deadline too, but I was thinking Matisse is a pretty good replacement of GP2. That's the only thing I like from it. Well, at the time of the Matisse trade, we didn't know that Gary was going to be traded too, so that's part of a reaction immediately. But second of all, I mean, Matisse is still a free agent too, so you still have to re-sign him, and you still have to worry about how much you pay him, and if you overpay and he doesn't look as good next year, his shooting goes back to normal. Like, does that contract start to look really bad in a couple of years or whatever? So
Yeah.
there's still some question marks about Matisse, but he's definitely proved he can be a rotation player. I think if we keep him, someone that you can have that with, but obviously we need more help because our defense hasn't improved at all since he's came along. So
Yeah.
we need some more help other than
Yeah.
just him.
Yeah. That's that thing is like no player is going to come in and single-handedly carry this defense. Individual players can't really single-handedly carry a defense like they can in offense. That's why the best players in the league are the best offensive players, because offensively, as an individual, you can impart your will more than on the defensive end. Defense reacts to offense. So, defense is more like, okay, you have to have a collection of the right pieces, whereas offense is like, you need a star. You need a Damian Lillard, And you can have some team-based offenses that work really well, but it's really hard to do that compared to just, having a star that teams have to game plan for and, basically work their defense around. But do you think... I mean, Embiid is phenomenal defensively. But do you think Wembanyama will be a better defensive player than him? Maybe not right away, but just... as he gets into his career.
Then who? I'm sorry.
Then Embiid.
He definitely has the potential to be. Yeah. I mean, Embiid's a good defender. It's not like he's like generational or anything, but yeah, I think as he puts on weight, I mean, just the sheer ability to recover, and even if he gets blown by, still can block pretty much anyone's shot. Yeah, it's he definitely has potential. I mean, maybe maybe as he gets older, he's not quick enough at that size to guard on the perimeter, so maybe he becomes a little bit of a liability, but it's hard to see that happening anytime soon with him.
Wemby,
Yeah.
I mean, even if that happens, he'll still be 6'4", 6'5" with an 8-foot wingspan, and seems to read things pretty quickly defensively. Like, I mean, he has the potential to be like a top 3 defensive player of all time. I mean, I don't shoot. He might have the best. He might have the potential to be the best defensive player of all time. I don't know. Like, you can't limit it because basically the best case scenario is he's Rudy Gobert, but much quicker and can guard on the perimeter. That's OP. That's OP.
Right.
Like, if you made a defender in the lab, I feel like he'd look like that.
I mean, there is, like, we saw Chet get bullied by, like, kind of Lofton in Summer League or whatever. Like, it's possible that he never puts on enough weight to be strong enough to be a good defender, like some of the better defenders of all time. But, yeah, a lot of that, too, though, is both, mentality. You have to want to be the best defender of all time, and so I don't really know how that does. And then you have to be a really big student of the game and learn tendencies and stuff like that. So it's something that until you see it play out in the NBA, it's kind of hard to know exactly how someone will respond mentally to how game plans adjust to him, how he can adjust to take out players' strengths and stuff like that. So a lot of things still yet to be determined. I can't really say he's going to be like a top 3 defender or something. He definitely has the tools, but I mean, there's been plenty of people who've had tremendous athletic ability and don't turn out to be good defenders. So, but yeah, I mean, it's such a game changer to have that size.
Yeah, you can't teach that sort of size
and be able to move at that size. But
your favorite bozo, Kevin Reese in chat, says, "Bro, the NBA not giving Portland Wemby LMAO. The lottery isn't rigged. It's conducted by like an outside firm with multiple people in the room that is literally as transparent a process as possible."
Yeah.
Like, just say you don't know how the lottery works without saying you don't know how the lottery works. If it was rigged, why would they give Zion? Why would they give the Pelicans Zion instead of the Knicks?
Yeah.
Like, I hate people that come up with arguments that this is rigged, this is rigged, this is rigged.
Why would the Blazers get Greg Oden before anyone knew he was going to be like an injured player that couldn't play, you know?
Yeah, I hate people that just say it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged, because one of the fellow YouTubers we talked to named Romp is... Oh, God, Kevin, just shut up. You're just so off. I can't with you. One of our YouTubers we talked to named Romp always says things are rigged, and he had like 4 tweets during the NFL playoffs saying it's rigged for the Bengals, it's rigged for the Bills, oh, it's rigged for the Chiefs. It's like, well, yeah, at some point when you say it's rigged for every team contending, you're gonna be right, and you can sit there and say, see, I told you it was rigged, see, they won it was rigged because they wanted Pat Mahomes to be the greatest of all time, or blah 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 blah, right? But it's like you're saying the same things. It was rigged for the Bills because of what happened to DeMar Hamlin. And it's just like, bro, if it's rigged, you should be able to predict it, right? If you're so on top of how it's rigged. But that's the thing. People just sit here and say, it's rigged, it's rigged, it's rigged. Like, it's easy to sit here and say it's rigged. But, if you think the lottery is rigged, you're just uneducated on it.
Yeah. And how many people would have to be in on it that would never be able to say anything? Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back in the day when there wasn't all these protections against making sure it wasn't rigged, maybe there was a frozen envelope. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
but that's not today's lottery system. So they have completely eliminated any of that stuff.
Yep. Morrison B
just like,
says the lottery is run by one of the big four accounting firms in the USA. There's no way they would ever risk their reputation over something like that.
yeah,
Yep. Thank you, Bread.
because if it ever came out, and it would eventually, that NBA would be ruined, the integrity of it, and that accounting firm would be ruined. So yeah.
Yeah. So they risked all that just so they could get Zion to the Pelicans instead of the Knicks, Eric.
Yeah.
Like, just think about it logically. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, someone claimed he had the script for the Jake Paul fight last Sunday, and like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone thinks everything is rigged. It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, no, the lottery's not rigged. If the Blazers get Wembanyama, you have to donate $500, Kevin Reese. You shouldn't have to worry about that since you know as a fact it's not going to happen, since apparently you know as a fact that it's rigged. So if it happens on that lottery stream, $500 dono from you.
Oh,
he says he will, too. I'm going to screenshot this.
We'll never hear from him again if that happens.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to screenshot this.
He'll change his name to Michael D.
You don't get anything, silly. You're the one saying that there's no chance it would happen, so... Like, that's like me sitting here and saying, yeah, penguins won't rain from the sky. Oh, well, if it doesn't happen, what do I get? What? Okay, let's Wembanyama.
See, so I get no benefits. See, he's just...
Yeah, see, you're full of it. You're full of it. Shut up. God, this is why you drive us crazy. Stuff like this,
Later,
bro.
Apples.
You said it ain't gonna happen because it's rigged, all right? So... You ever heard of odds? You ever heard of odds? You said 0% chance this happening.
Chris Brandon's exactly right. People like People's Mix are just, if it doesn't happen the way they want it to happen, it's just rigged. Like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
that's
just
the only
dumb.
way to justify anything.
It's just dumb. It drives me crazy, man. I hate that. It's just like so devoid of logic. Like, it's crazy how illogically people will go about thinking things for no reason.
All right, how about this? No, I don't even want to do that. Never mind.
Anyway. We don't care about the Lakers. Why are you bringing up the Lakers? We don't care. Screw the Lakers. Anyway, let's move on.
Joey, you say that, but I mean, I was sitting there in 2007. The Blazers had the sixth, I think, best odds, which is pretty close to happening for the Blazers right now. And it magically happened. So, yep.
Yeah, but that's because the number one prospect wasn't going to have a career because of knee injuries. That's why we got it.
Yeah, they knew it. They were like, anytime there's a big man that Portland's for sure going to take over Durant, they knew that before the lottery. So,
yep, and then they gave Seattle Kevin Durant so that when they moved to OKC, they could sell tickets.
Yeah, yep. And then they made sure Atlanta got the third pick because they really needed Al Horford. And
yeah, you can justify anything if you warp logic enough. And that's what a lot of people do with a lot of different things. So, it's what they want to be. It's what they want to be true, It's just the narrative they want. They will warp it to fit their reality. Shout out Rip City Brady, member for 18 months, says, it's rigged! And then says, take off the tinfoil hat. Yeah. Kevin Reese in the tinfoil hat. Yeah.
So Joey says, with this draft, I'll believe it when I see it. Blazers don't get nice things, LOL. Well,
I understand the pessimism.
Yeah, I mean, it's still just a 10% chance if we got up to fifth. So, like, right now, it's even worse than that. But, like, so yeah, chances are it's not going to happen.
We
It's
still
like
have it. Yeah, the
there's
chances are the chances. The odds are the
even
odds.
if we get up to 5, it's still 89.5% likely that we don't get it. That doesn't mean it's rigged or
Yeah,
the
yeah,
league
yeah.
doesn't want the Blazers to get it. But like same exact thing in 2007, generational draft. There's two guys that are going to be Hall of Famers guaranteed
Hmm.
and will win multiple championships and all this stuff and that and we somehow won that draft and everyone was pissed. Boston had the best odds, I believe, and they finished 4th and they were so mad. Um and yeah, so and
Who did they get out of that draft?
they ended up trading the pick to the Thunder, or at the time the Sonics. They ended up with the 5th pick. Actually, they traded it to the Sonics for Ray Allen,
Oh yeah,
and then the Sonics drafted
it worked out.
Jeff Green, and then they traded. That's the same summer, obviously, that they traded Al Jefferson and a bunch of other players for KG, and got both of
I wish Washington State could rig the real lottery for me.
them.
I think that would make sense. That'd be cool. I need to call up the Washington lottery and ask for a favor. Who is David? Who is that? Alley oops.
I did see a question from Trevin earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If right now you could say you either get the number 1 pick and keep Wembanyama, or you for sure get Embiid. Either one of these you for sure get. So, but if you get Wembanyama, you got to keep him, or you trade. You have to trade Sharp, Ant, and all your firsts, so 5 firsts or whatever. But you for sure get Embiid. What are you doing?
So Ant, Sharp, 5 firsts, Nurk.
I think he said Nurk, but just
Would I do that for Embiid?
no. You have one of 2 choices. You get the first pick and you get Wembanyama,
Oh yeah.
or you don't get the first pick and you trade for Embiid. Which way would you go?
Oh, ow, that's so hard. Let me ask chat that question.
Yeah.
And I'm just titling it Pick a Path. Wembanyama or Embiid, with the context being, it'd be Sharp, Ant, 5 firsts for Embiid, Nurk. So choose a path, chat. Which path would you rather have? This is going to be fascinating to see the results to, Eric. I would probably go Wembanyama. What would you go?
Man, that's so tough. I'm not a fan of giving up entire futures, so if the Wembanyama path, we get to keep all our guys and add Wembanyama without doing that. So I think I choose Wemby if those are my 2 choices, but I still, yeah, I'm choosing Wembanyama. But if this is a different question, so it's I'm not saying I would choose Embiid, but I'm saying if we got the number 1 pick and could get Embiid without giving up all those guys, that would be something I would consider. But if it's one or the other, I'm picking Wemby, I think, just because we get to keep everything else and we can still make other moves around that.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of it is Wemby would be such a view merchant.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, getting Embiid would too.
Yeah, but I think Wemby would be even more of a view merchant,
Yeah.
man. Like, I think, like, the hype around him when he's playing in the league is going to be obscene. Like, his first game is going to for sure be nationally televised. Like, he's the most hyped up prospect since LeBron. Like, and he's international, so France is gonna be behind him. Like, honestly, Wemby I think would be better for the channel. So I'm not gonna lie and say that kind of makes me want Wemby a little bit more. But also I agree with your logic. Like, we don't even know with, like, people say we don't even know 100% if Dame plus Embiid could contend, because you still need pieces around those guys. And if we're trading Sharp, Ant, Nurk, and all our picks, it's like, how do we fill out the spots around those guys?
I mean, that's a
and with
good
this
start, though.
I know, absolutely. It's just like, you look at LeBron and AD aren't automatic contenders right now, and that's two of the best players in the league. Because why aren't they contenders? Because the pieces around them don't fit. And because Embiid kind of struggles with health. Embiid in the past has had some health struggles too. So,
see, when we re-sign Grant and play him at the 3, and he gets burnt on the perimeter, Wemby can get to those mid-range shots from his rim protection spot. So, like, we got the ultimate Jeremy Grant dying on screens counteraction there, because, like, Wemby just comes from like 10 feet away and blocks every shot. So
you could literally play drop scheme but not give up mid-range shots with Wemby. I think Wemby could become like a top 3 defender right away. Like, he has that sort of ability just with his length and athleticism and agility.
And think back to the Pelican series where a guy like AD's length and athleticism gave us fits trapping Dame. Like, could you imagine like Wemby and Jeremy trapping off screens like that against shorter guards and stuff? Like, how would you pass out of those double teams?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm eating Skittles.
That's all good.
Because I dreamed about Skittles, so I had to eat some today.
What? So I don't understand the people who think that means we have to move on from Dame, or that Dame can't be a part of that. Like, we'd have all those young guys, so we'd have a good enough team to possibly be a future championship team, and we'd have Dame still on top of that. So, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is like, if you get Embiid, it's like, oh, we have to win, we have to win, we have to win. If you get Wemby, like, it's like, okay, we should win, but also you're kind of chilling for 8 years, Mm-hmm. Like, all of a sudden your futuristic window is real nice. I mean, it would just be fun the team would be much better. The team would probably be a playoff team with him, depending on other moves, of course, but it'd probably be a top 6-7 seed at worst, I think. Like, Wemby would come in and immediately change the defense. Mm-hmm. So it's like, he makes us better now, so we win, but also it's like not desperation. It's, okay, this team is going to get better and better and better just through internal growth over the next 3 to 4 years. So, you can keep Dame around with that and have a chance, and then you still have all your future picks and Ant and Sharp to make another splash. It's like, that's the thing, is you could still hypothetically trade for Embiid maybe down the line and have Wembanyama and Embiid. Then you have a top 5 defense automatically just because of those two guys. So, you'd have the assets for a follow-up move down the line still. You wouldn't be all in on that team. That team would be pretty good. That team would be set for the future. Victor, yeah, makes more sense.
For sure.
So I'm rooting for Victor over Embiid this offseason.
Priest with the $2 donation. Thank you, Priest. Wemby equals Mobley times KD. Brick for Vic.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only way you can find a comparison for him is if you like combine multiple players and then add a few inches. He's Mobley times KD plus 4 or 5 inches. Hypothetically. Well, I mean, obviously KD's an amazing scorer. Hopefully Wembanyama can become that scorer, but like, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing with him offensively is he's super creative. And he with how well he moves, he can shoot pull-ups off the dribble. He shoots pull-up threes off the dribble. He can shoot step-back threes. He can shoot threes where he's running into them, going right, and, like, fading away to the right. Like, from what I've seen, I don't think there will be anything that he can't do offensively. It's just, can he do it consistently enough? You know, can he make shots consistently enough? Can he be like super efficient on everything he does? But it's like, dog, I want Victor Wembanyama to be mentored by Damian Lillard as a perimeter scorer. That's what I want.
I don't know, Max. Crypto AK says, y'all would really take a player that's an unknown over the best big in the league just so you can play both sides of the fence, just like Cronin is doing that.
Unknown. What do you mean just like Cronin? Bro, go ahead.
If this was last year, like the Banchero, Jabari Smith, or whatever, like 1,000%, there's no question, 100% of the time you trade that for Embiid or whatever. But like some of you don't realize that Wembanyama is thought of as the best prospect since LeBron. On top of that, I heard that some GMs would question whether they would take LeBron over Wembanyama in like if they were in the same draft. Like that's how crazy good this guy is. So would you like going back to the LeBron James draft if we could have traded for I don't know who the best center in 2003 was. I'm trying to think. Whoever the Embiid equivalent of that. Like you're saying, like you got to trade LeBron because you don't know what he's going to be. Like Shaq. So you could have gotten Shaquille O'Neal in 2003. Like you're saying, like you would trade for a like however old Shaq was, like. I think he was probably like 30 or so in that around there. He was the 92 draft. So yeah, somewhere around 30-ish years old. So you would trade LeBron for Shaq who, I don't know, man. Like it's a tough conversation for sure. I'm not saying it's an easy one. That's why I brought up I read off Trevin's question. And I do think that's going to be something that is going to be like a very tough decision if it happens. But like, I don't know how you can do that. What if he ends up like Porzingis? Like Porzingis wasn't even the number one pick. Like there was no one that thought he was like generational. Like, yeah, he's considered a unicorn because he's 7'3", but like, no one was. Why didn't he go number one in that draft then if he was like a surefire thing? That's not even close to the same thing.
Yeah. Porzingis is like the worst case scenario. In my mind. Like
like Smog says, Porzingis with defense is like the worst case scenario.
Porzingis with defense, quicker, longer, taller, more skilled, more fluid. Yeah. Kevin Reese says, what if he's also injury prone? Embiid's been injury prone. Any big can end up injury prone. Like, what do you mean, what if he's injury prone? So we should trade for Embiid, who missed the first 2 years of his career with injuries? Like, bro, I what are these arguments? I mean, are you excluding injuries? Because Wemby definitely has a chance to end up injury prone. LOL. Okay. So we should just never have anybody above 6'6" because they're more injury prone. Eric is what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah. I mean, there is risk with any draft pick. Yes, we understand that. It's like, I don't know. This isn't a draft though, where like there's. I don't know. Like, this is a draft where no one's taking anyone other than Wembanyama if they get the number one pick. So, like, yeah. Mac asks, what are the chances, or how many losses do the Blazers need to get within striking distance for Victor?
Depends on what you think is striking distance.
Yeah. So, yeah, they have a 5.3% chance right now if it ended today. If they get up to fifth, it could go as high as 10.5%. They're not going to get any higher than that in the standings. So somewhere between like 4 and 10% chance is going to be the outcome.
Yep.
That's not going to be the Blazers' goal, though, even though they might try to win and only win 3 games the rest of the season. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Just lose to Orlando next game.
Who has more rings, Shaq or Braun? Is that supposed to be like a diss on our thing? Don't they both have 4?
Yeah.
And in
But
2000,
LeBron did it all as the best player on his team, where you can make the argument that Kobe was.
And in 2003, if for that draft, you would have Shaq had already won 3 of them. So
yeah, and Shaq was, still really good in 2006, but
so that would be like Miami traded for Shaq in 2004, and they won 1 title in 2006 with him being like not great, but still good enough to help Dwayne Wade. So Shaq won 1 title, and that was because Dwayne Wade was amazing, and they came back. They probably should have lost that series anyway if Wade doesn't go off in the second half. And what was that, game 3 or game 4? When they were down 0-2. So yeah, I mean, he won 1 title from there. So I guess if you win a title with Embiid, it's worth it, but you would miss out on four championships. So basically it would be, would you take 1 championship for 4? That's the question, not how many do they both have.
Also, it's like, if you're trying to win next year or the year after in the West, Eric, you have to have somebody that can guard Kevin Durant. Victor Wembanyama in the next couple years, you could make the case for being the best defender to put up against Kevin Durant because he can move his feet, and also what's the thing with Kevin Durant? He can shoot over literally everyone.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna have an easy time shooting over Victor Wembanyama because he's 7'4", 7'5" whatever, with an 8-foot wingspan and can move his feet. Like, you possibly have your KD stopper. Once Victor Wembanyama gets stronger, you possibly have your Giannis stopper. Like, he's so unique as a defensive prospect, and then offensively, he could be a 30-point per game guy. Like, he in 5 years, there is a legitimate chance that Victor Wembanyama is the best basketball player in the world.
Alex R says, but LeBron left the Cavs, LOL. Yeah, I understand LeBron left the Cavs. He was there 8 or 9 years, wasn't he, before he left?
Yeah. Guess what? If he had today's Anthony Simons, maybe he wouldn't have left. Because as a problem, he had no help.
Well, and he carried a team, one of the worst finals teams of all time. He carried to the finals very young in his career. Like, can you imagine that LeBron had Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant on that team? Like, Jeremy Grant's probably like the equivalent of the second best player on that finals team. Yeah.
Yep. There's a question. First, there's a comment. Ishfluent says, "Damn, Tori, I need to watch more of them." In chat, let me know, how much Victor Wembanyama have you guys actually watched? Let me know in chat. Give me your answers in chat, because I'm curious. But then also, there was a question. Would you play Wemby at power forward and keep Nurk, or would you trade Nurk and play Wemby at center, from Alan G?
I'd definitely play him at power forward, at least initially.
Yeah. I mean, that's extra rim protection, and, like, you go up against the Suns and KD, you get to play Wemby against him at the 4 spot, It's extra length. Move Grant to the 3, and just basically it'd be a situation where you put Damon on guards, right, and just have him go over screens and funnel everything into the paint, because you got Grant off ball, best defensive position, waiting at the rim, Victor Wembanyama waiting at the rim, Yusuf Nurkic waiting at the rim. Like, that's how you'd work things defensively, and that team could probably be okay defensively. Offensively, they'd be great. Offensively, they'd be phenomenal.
Yeah,
especially if Nurk keeps shooting, because you got 5 shooters, and you got a ton of size.
every time I watch Wembanyama play, it's like okay, this guy's really good, but like, is he really that good? And then he just does something that's like unreal, and I'm like, what the f did I just watch? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how crazy it is. Yeah.
YYC has a terrible question. He says, would Tory take Chet over Wemby? Hell no. What?
Because you're biased, remember?
Bro, what? Why are you asking that question? What do you mean would I take Chet over Wemby? Of course not. Y'all tripping. Thinking I'm so biased for Gonzaga Bulldogs. It's like I wouldn't draft Drew Timmy. Where I have Strother in my draft is probably, right where everybody else has him, like early second round pick is what I've seen, and I think that's justifiable. Corey Kispert, I wasn't super high on. Y'all gotta chill with me being biased for Gonzaga players. I don't trust Gonzaga in the tournament this year. I might pick them to lose in the first round of my bracket, all right? I'm not biased for them.
Why am I blanking on that Gonzaga center from like back in the day? That
Ronnie Turioff?
Yeah, Turioff. Thank you. I knew you'd know who it was.
Yeah.
You'd take Ronnie Turioff over Wembanyama. Jeez, man.
I mean, I sit here still saying that I had an argument the other day with Romp about the Halliburton-Sabonis trade, and I still don't think it was a great trade for the Kings. Like, yes, they're better now, but I think it's going to be hard for them to ever contend with kind of the where they're at right now, but that was never really their goal. I still don't love the Halliburton trade for them. But Sabonis, son of a Blazer legend and a Gonzaga Bulldog, I've always been saying I don't want the Blazers trade for Sabonis because he doesn't really help them defensively, and that's the issue. So, if anything, I'm maybe a little too hard on Sabonis.
Adam Smith says, I still wonder if Adam Morrison could have made it in the NBA. What does that mean? He did play in the NBA and sucked, so no, he couldn't make it.
I mean, he was injured. He had major injury issues, which might have changed his trajectory. He might have always sucked. Maybe the injuries hurt him. I feel like Adam Morrison might have done better in today's NBA.
Maybe. I mean, everyone scores like 50 points then.
With the emphasis on 3-point shooting and the floor spacing.
Yeah.
Like, he'd have more space. He wasn't the quickest guy, but you gave him a little bit of space. He could take his defender one-on-one, use his body. Yeah, I feel like he would have been better in today's NBA.
AJ says he's battling the sign and trade Jeremy Grant Twitter users right now. Luckily, he has Blazers Uprise knowledge to combat them. Yeah, I'm already over this, and I haven't even seen it that much, outside of today.
Yep, but guess what? We're going to see more of it, and then we're going to talk about it on stream, and there's always going to be those people in stream that are like, nobody's ever said that. It's like, all right.
It drives me crazy because that's the type of crap that less knowledgeable about the CBA media people spew on Twitter and stuff, and then they get everyone riled up and just like, oh, if we use our trade exceptions, it doesn't count against the luxury tax. And everyone's like, oh yeah, why don't we do that then? It's like, well, we're not doing that because that's not true. That it does count against the luxury tax, but then everyone thinks like it's a logical possibility. Yeah. Dumb. I got blocked by several media guys because the year Whiteside, after we had Whiteside, they were saying we were going to sign and trade him for all these freaking stars and stuff. And I'm like, dude, it's not going to happen. And they all blocked me so I wouldn't rain on their stupid Whiteside sign and trade parade. And this, like, so dumb.
Yeah, and then he went and signed for a minimum.
Yeah.
It's like he wouldn't have even been any salary.
But if we would have talked to him, he would have signed for like 3 years, $80 million with Cleveland, so we could get Kevin Love or something. But Jody wasn't willing to pay the tax, so that's why we didn't do it. It wasn't because we couldn't.
It was so stupid, dude. I hate it. Like, there's times where I just hate knowing the CBA, because that stuff just drives me crazy. You guys keep fighting the good fight. I'm proud of you, chat. I'm proud of our community for being the knowledgeable community and fighting the good fight.
Oh yeah, and that was the other thing. We were supposed to pay like $50 million in tax to give Austin Rivers the biennial exception that year too, right? Thanks for reminding me about that, Trevin, too. So dumb. Like, if we don't, we're not a serious franchise if we don't sign Austin Rivers to the biennial exception.
Where's the criticism now? It's like, I understood that because Austin Rivers just isn't really good, and that's a ton of money to shell out for Austin Rivers who doesn't make a difference. It's like, I understood why Jody wouldn't want to pay the tax for that. Like, that made sense, right? There was more criticism for that than the stuff they've done the past couple of years in terms of ducking the tax. Not just close to the tax. They were like ducking the tax by multiple millions of dollars. They don't even have to, but they still decide to. So, but no, it's to set this team up for a big time move. I used to think our fan base was the smartest fan base in the league. But that was when I was like, that was like a decade ago.
That's funny. Now
there's like a lot of casual fan bases, Eric, but you know what it is? There's a lot of like really casual fan bases, but they just act like they're casual fan bases, right? Blazer fans, it's like there's a bunch of people out there that are like casual or don't really know what they're talking about, but maybe more so than any other NBA fan base, they will pretend like they know everything. Mm-hmm. That is our fan base. Yeah. Not everybody, but that is a big section of our fan base will pretend like they know everything. Maybe. And they will be so dead set on being wrong about like CBA stuff.
Maybe pre-internet.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, man, God. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah, stupid YouTubers from Blazers Uprise who think they know everything.
you know why we know everything about the CBA? Well, not everything about the CBA, but you know why we know the CBA? Is because we were humble enough to just say, you know what? Let's actually study and learn about the CBA. Easy. Crazy concept. But let's actually, study it, Eric, and learn about it so we know what we're talking about instead of just like, oh, this guy said we could do this? Oh, we for sure can do that then. What?
Our Trae Young enthusiast is back. Dame, Trae, Grant, Wemby, Eubanks, future Blazers starting five. There we go.
Damn.
Dude, if we actually traded for Trae Young and got the number one pick, and then Cronin couldn't get a better starting center than Drew Eubanks with that freaking lineup.
Wait, why? What?
Oh man,
bro. Okay, okay. To the person who said that trade, their name is SXKJX. Okay, just please stop with the Trae Young stuff. Okay, just move on from Trae Young. Just no more Trae Young. Okay, no more Trae Young. All right, please. I can't with the Trae Young. You made me cough. Like legitimately cough because I'm still trying to fully get over this cough that I've had. And yeah, no. I mean, no Trae Young. If you don't take my advice, then you can't complain. Not saying you have, but if you don't take my advice and chat roasts you, you can't complain about it. Because I tried to help you out. But if you don't want to If you don't want me to help you out, then sure, you can keep saying Trae Young and probably get roasted for it. If that's what you're into, then that's fine. That's fine. Keep going with the Trae Young stuff then. This is like Block Boy for Trae Young. Yeah, it's Young Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the part of the post-game show where we end it.
Oh, we're getting Trae Young and Damian Lillard coordinates now. Some latitude and longitude makes them a dynamic duo.
Bro.
What?
What are those numbers?
Is he downloading a virus to our YouTube channel?
Yeah. All right. Should I be worried?
The Trae
They
Young
are
virus.
stats. 27.042.933.13.010.11.10.2. I mean, that's a lot of points per game. I guess. I don't. What's the stats? I mean, Dame starts with the 32, so I guess that's points per game. Are we like rounding points per game to the 100th? To the 1000th?
Or is that the start of the next line?
I
Like, is that everything?
32.3, 47.2 is that field goal percentage? Then 37.9 is probably 3-point percentage.
Yeah, and then 4.47 rebounds.
4.4.
Oh, no, 4.4 rebounds, 7.1 assist,
0.9.
90.3 free throw percentage. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
We deciphered the code.
27. so Trae Young's at 27, 42.9, a whopping 33.1%.
1% from 3.
3 rebounds, 10.1 assists, and I don't know what that would be.
1,102 points given up per game.
Yeah. Accurate.
They did space between. Yeah, you gotta do a comma or something, man. I don't know, because I don't know how to read that IP address statistics. So, we need a mod to clip it. This would make for a funny short. Anyway, one final Tankathon sim to try and end this on a high note. Okay, since we just talked about future Blazer savior Wembanyama so much, let's go get him. Okay, Tankathon. Let's get it on. What's
Donald Jones with some positive messages for us. Doesn't matter who we draft or trade for, guaranteed no title for decades because Portland can't play basketball. Hey, thanks, Donald. Way to get everyone up.
Tori, you're too negative.
Oh
man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Priest with another $2 dono. Says De'Aaron Fox is Westbrook's dad. # Fox beats in the Clips. Yeah, I'm not paying attention to any of the NBA right now, but that's funny. The Clippers are struggling right now with Westbrook. Teams aren't even guarding them.
Sorry, don't even bother going outside and touching grass because you'll never get grass.
What?
You can try to touch it all you want. You're never going to touch it.
Damn. What a roast. Jeez.
Never. Doesn't matter what you do, how much game you get.
I love it.
No, it's not a weed joke. Touching grass is like when you someone's like on Twitter and they need to go outside and like live their life instead of be a Twitter troll. And
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
also a parallel to like getting laid or whatever. But yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm stuck in this cave, so
yeah.
you know, I
You're
can't.
never getting.
I
out of
never
it,
leave.
ever.
I secretly never leave this room, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish I could grow grass in here. Maybe I can order. Maybe I can DoorDash one of those, you know, little black pots you grow grass in, and then I could just touch it occasionally just to feel alive.
Just get a little patch of grass in the corner or something.
You know what? I might order grass just to put up on
I don't
stream.
think you'd get the right grass.
No, I'm gonna order a grass plant pot
A Terry
thing,
Stotts chia pet.
just so I can put it up on stream and tell people they need to touch it. And that sounded very sus, which means it's time for Tinkathon. Anyway, I mean, we already ran through this. Let's just try and end the stream off on a good note, you know. So let's scroll this up. 12 is Utah, 11 is Washington, 10 is the Pelicans via the Lakers, 9 is the OKC Thunder. Moment of truth. Do the Blazers move up or not? 8 is the freaking Blazers. This sim didn't do anything. That sim was broken. Didn't change anything at all.
Freeze for the $2 donation. Here we go. Buy a chia Blazers shaped plant.
Thank you. How much do they cost? Is my question.
Oh, they're like $12, $12.99.
Let's see.
Get the Scooby Doo one I saw the other day.
Moment of truth. Portland is either 9 or top 4. All right. They're top 4. All
Pelicans
right.
moved up again though.
We rigged it for the Blazers. Let's go. Pelicans moved up in the... Oh, God. I would be so nervous. We could get number 1 or New Orleans could get number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That would be disgusting. I would... My heart rate... I need to find my charger for my Samsung watch. And I need to wear it for the draft lottery stream and just, like, say what my heart rate would be if we move into the top 4. Because I guarantee you it's going to be, like, 300 beats.
Kyle Wilson says they're $15.99 plus shipping and handling. That was close. $12.99. That was a good.
Yeah. All right, moment of truth. Here we go. At 4, we got your freaking Portland Trailblazers. God freaking dang it. At 3, you have the New Orleans Pelicans. At least they didn't get number 1. At 2, Houston. And at 1, Detroit.
Wemby, Duran, Wiseman, Bagley.
Wemby at the 3.
We got 3rd that next time we did it, then 4th.
I just need to see us at number 1. Actually, let's simulate it here. This is the place to simulate it.
So we get Wembanyama.
I just want to see his name next to our logo, please.
Yeah.
Please. Oh, I accidentally simmed it again. I didn't get to enjoy it. I didn't believe that roll was going to get it done. No.
I saw it for a second. We can.
I know. I needed to soak it in, though. You know, it just looks so right.
What's up, Janelle?
I wonder if we could get Nick Batum back if we have Wembanyama. I was watching back some playoff stuff from like early in Dame's career, and man, I miss Batum. He got so much hate for how good he was.
Yeah.
He was like legitimately good.
I mean, he was bad in Charlotte after we traded him, so I don't know why people still dog that trade, but
yeah, I mean, he regressed a little
Scoot.
bit. But...
Now we're not going to get it for like...
I know, dude. How did we get it when we were 11th and we got it first try? First sim of the season, we were 11th and we got it first try. Fast. I know. Well, dude, do you see how rigged this is? There we go. Look how beautiful that looks. And then you got Chicago at 2. Oh, look how... Man, I can't wait till we have him in a Blazer uniform. 7'5". So much for a lack of size. That's his numbers next season as a starter: 25-11, 3-3.
Yeah.
3-4, I guess, if you round correctly for both. Yeah. Anyway, that's the dream, ladies and gentlemen. That is the dream. I need to make a video about it soon or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up this post-game show and go outside and touch some grass.
Well, if you can achieve that, Tori, with everything stacked against you, I think there's hope for the Blazers.
Yeah, I might be allergic to it.
Hope not.
I wouldn't know because I've never touched it. So.
But yeah, that concludes our 6 days in a row of streaming. Day off tomorrow.
Oh, thank God.
And then we'll be back Sunday. Early game 3 o'clock.
I might miss the start
10 o'clock.
Check. I might have rec league.
I got you if you were. So it'll be 5:30ish.
Mm-hmm.
Post game.
Let's see here. We play at... Oh, God, I forget what my team name is.
Kyle Wilson got a raise today. Congratulations.
Congrats, Kyle.
Timbers
job,
game
Kyle.
tomorrow at 2 p.m., says Connor.
Okay, I think we play at 1.
Uh,
Oh, we play that team. God, that team's annoying to play.
how'd you do last night, by the way?
I outplayed the former pro D1 player in the first half. We were up 30. I locked him up and I was able to score on him. I was on one.
Nice.
I was on one. Dude, it's so satisfying being able to drive at guys that are bigger than me, like guys that are like 6'6" and can move still, and being able to drive and finish those layups high over them. I feel like such a guard. It's so satisfying. But I hit a I hit a turnaround 3 in transition on him.
Nice.
I don't know. I was just feeling it. Driving right in transition, turning back, and just fading from 3. Yeah, I did well. Well. But the team we play on Sunday in my harder league is annoying. One of the guys I played with in high school, he always was just an ass to me. So don't enjoy playing against him. But
yeah,
we'll see. Anyway, we need rec league vlogs, Tori. Yeah. If enough of you become channel members, then maybe I can hire a full-time videographer to just follow me around in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And can videotape me touching grass and playing basketball.
Priest, another $2 donation if we get a G League team vlog, the tryout story.
Oh, dude, I would hit him up yo, can I try out and make a vlog and it'll be good promotional material for the new G League team. Maybe I'd get a yes. I'm 6'4" and I played in college. I just won't tell him my scoring average.
Which was
22 points per game.
21 cents more than that donation.
Yeah, 22 points per game. Anyway, thank you, Priest, for the donos. Yeah, AJ knows.
Yeah.
Alan G is adding random decimals like the stats for Trae Young and Damian Lillard.
Are your Sunday games at a place where you can have fans?
I mean, people can just walk in, but there's not really stands.
Yeah, okay.
It's at Kingsway. Yeah. What position did I play in college? Stretch 4.
I would say, at my games, people could just show up if you want an actual real life vlog instead of
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's not enough stands, unfortunately.
You can see mine.
Is Rip City 3-on-3 coming back this year or no?
They haven't announced that it hasn't yet, so I don't know.
Still, it's getting pretty close, I feel like, to them needing to announce that it's coming back, if it's coming back.
Yeah.
Because it'd be in it'd be in 5 months.
They haven't had an update since the 2021, I think, on their Twitter.
That's so lame. On hiatus. That's the thing is they said it was canceled last year, and now they say it's on hiatus. So it makes me think that there's not going to be one this year. But their copyright at the bottom says 2021, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Figure it out. I wonder why they wouldn't have it. I don't know.
Maybe they're just not going to do it anymore. That's possible.
That's lame, man.
Yeah. We should try to be in a different 3-on-3 tournament this summer if we could.
Yeah, just outside Moda, media. We get to beat up on media members for the one. Like we need to be able to beat up on media members, right?
Yeah.
Exact our revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate all of you. And can't wait to hear all your sign-in trade suggestions the rest of the season. And we'll be back Sunday evening after the Blazers either ruin their tanking chances of getting Wembanyama or we start maybe getting unrealistic expectations that he's going to be a Blazer.
Yep. Brick for Vic is the motto right now. And hopefully we can get that dude in a Blazer uniform because he would save our freaking franchise, which is on the down rise. Tank Rise postgame show. The Blazers Tank Rise postgame show has been presented by Bet Online. Use that promo code BELIEVE for a 50% reward bonus. Catch you on Sunday, early afternoon postgame stream. 5:30 p.m. postgame stream, which is kind of, I don't like those times, but we'll be here. We'll be here, so hopefully we're able to catch you for that, and we'll have probably some college basketball and prospect stuff to talk about if you're into that. So anyway, this has been a wrap for this postgame show. We'll catch you then. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.